All right, so here we are with 3.9 best fit line. So we just have one class activity for this section. All right, so again, best fit line, we're going to be looking at a scatter plot of some data and deciding what kind of a line can we create that creates the best idea of the trend. So sometimes the data we collect, so in life we might collect data and look at different random points and put it on a scatter plot. Sometimes the data we collect isn't always linear. Life isn't perfect, so data will not always end up linear. But we can still see a trend. And we're going to look for the trend in our data, and then that's where we draw the best fit line. Okay. So, here's a word problem. The number of internet users in the United States increased steadily from 2008 to 2013, as indicated in the following lovely table. Sorry, I only got the idea to use my ruler after I drew that line, so the rest of it looks pretty good. All right, so on the following table, we have year, 2008, 2009, and so on. And then this section is the number of internet users in the US. Okay, so what do these numbers mean? Let's take a look. In the year 2008, there were 203.2 million users. How about 2011? In 2011, there were 229.2 million internet users in the US. Whew, okay. Okay, so part A. Plot the data points. Let x be the number of years since 2008. Okay, so years is going to be my x values, which then means my y values will be the number of internet users in the US in millions. So I went ahead and drew up my own little graph on a sticky note, so let me put that down. And let's move this up a little bit. All right. Okay, so we're going to plot our data points. So to do that, we need to have some coordinate points. So I'm going to go ahead and retranslate this table into some coordinate points. So we have the number of years since 2008. This is interesting. What would 2008 be then? How many years has that been since 2008? Well, if you're in the year 2008, no years have passed since 2008. So that would be 0 years. And the matching value for that is 203.2. Okay, so go ahead and try see if you could write down all of the data points. Pause the video and go ahead and see if you can do that. All right, so let's take a look. 2009 is 1 year since 2008. 2010 is 2 years. The matching value for 2010 is 221.0. You don't need to write the 0.0, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. 2011 is 3 years. Matching value is 229.2. 2012 is 4 years. Matching value, 236.9. And last one, 2013, 5 years since 2008. Okay, so here we have how many data points? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So each of these coordinate sets will plot us 1 point. Let's go ahead, pause the video, see if you can plot the points. Okay, so let's see. 0. In the year 0, we were at 203.2. So I'm not going to be super perfect on this, but yeah, let's say it's about there. Why not? Then I'll go ahead and I don't exactly have that much room on this graph, so I won't actually label those points. If you had more room, it'd probably be a good idea to label the points. Actually, what I'll do, since I don't have room, let me call these points, I will give them a letter. Let's call these A, B, C, D, E, and F. So that point That's point A. All right. Year 1, we're looking at 211. It's about there. That was point B. Year 2, we're looking at around 220. That point, let's call it about C. Year 3, we're looking at almost at 229, that's almost 230. So, matching up with that, it's about 230. And that, we called it D. And let's see, 236. A little past that point. So let's go ahead and graph it about there. Yeah, kind of really eyeballing this graph. And then year 5. 244. 244. Well, it's about there and here. So, all right. Huh. Well, that's an interesting graph. It kind of looks about like all these points are lining up, doesn't it? If I get my ruler. Yeah, wow, they do kind of line up really well. And that was a handmade graph. Haha. Except for that point, that's kind of a little off. This one's a little off. Okay, but all in all, actually, our points are starting to kind of look linear. Okay, so that was part A. We plotted the points. Let's see what part B is. Let me shuffle my papers here. Okay, part B. Find a best fit line for this scatter plot. All right, so remember, the phrasing best fit line, there are different answers for this, so this one can be kind of hard to grade. But basically, as long as you give me valid reasons for why you chose that line, that'll be good. So what would a best fit line be? Let me grab my ruler, pull it out again. So if I tried to draw a line like this and went whoosh, that's not a best fit line. It's hardly touching any of the points. If I went ahead with my ruler like this, it hits through those 2 points, but it doesn't really hit the rest of them. So I'm going to try see if I can get it about in the middle of all the points. Sorry about coughing. That looks good. Let's go ahead with that. Okay, remember this is a best fit line, so it's not going to be 100% accurate for our data. And your line might end up looking a little different from mine because we're estimating. Okay, so that right there, that is the line I have drawn. But I want to find a best fit line. So how do I find a line? Well, I need an equation for this line. Okay, so we need an equation. Which brings to mind the idea we have about writing the equation of a line. So how do we write the equation of a line? Right. Let's move that over here. We need an equation. How do we write the equation of a line? Well, if you remember from the other videos, we're going to use an equation. So is this a horizontal line or a vertical line? Nope, it's a slanted line. So we're going to end up using the equation y equals mx plus b, our slope intercept. And to use this equation, what do I need to fill it out? I need my slope and 1 point. Okay, so let's take a look at this line that I chose to be my best fit line. What's a point on this line? So either F or A would be good points to choose for my 1 point. And remember, any of these points would be good values because they're from my line. I'm going to go ahead and choose the point A. Why? because the point A has the smaller numbers. I always go for the smaller numbers, simpler the better. So we're going to choose 0, 203.2. Remember, you could have chosen any of these points. But the best points to choose would be either A, B, or F, because those points are actually on the line I've created. E would probably not be the best point to pick because he kind of falls below the line I drew. So it wouldn't work the best for little bug. Sorry. E would not be the best point to choose for this because it doesn't quite fall on that line that I've drawn. And remember, I'm working with the best fit line, so it's not going to be exact. All right, so I found the point. Now I need my slope. And let's see, to find slope, what would be the best option for us here? The best option would be to use m equals y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. That'd be the best way to find slope. So I just need 2 coordinate points to find slope, and I actually have a bunch of coordinate points. So the question might be, which coordinate points should I use? It's a good question. Go ahead and think about what you would choose. Okay, so the points that I would choose would probably be A and F. They're the farthest apart, and they're sort of the 2 points that tie together my line. Okay, so I'm going to go with A and F. Remember, this is the best fit line. So point A is, I'm going to go ahead and use these ones. Point A, I'll label those my sub ones. X1, Y1. And point F, I'll label those my X2, Y2. Okay, let's go ahead and plug these values in. Go ahead and pause the video and try and calculate this yourself. Alright, so let's take a look. My Y1 value was 203.2, and we're subtracting from that my Y2 value, which is 244.1. Ooh, I don't know what that was. Alrighty. And then x sub 1 is 0 minus my x sub 2 is 5. Alright, and I am not going to do that in my head. I will go ahead and pull out my lovely calendar. Oh, not calendar, calculator. It's late. Okay, 203.2 minus 244.1 is negative 40.9. All over. And 0 minus 5, I can do that in my head. That's going to be negative 5. So simplifying, negative divided by negative is going to be a positive number. Let's re-pull out my calculator. And it's negative 40.9. We're going to divide that by negative 5, which gives us 8.18. So what is that value? Okay, 8.18 is my slope. That's what I was finding. And I have found the 2 values I need to fill out my equation. Yay! Okay, so my equation for the best fit line that I've chosen to write for this problem is y equals, and my slope is 8.18 times x plus my b value. Oh, I just realized I did a teeny bit of something wrong here. Okay. Shucks. Well, scratch this one out of your memory, dear students. We're not using that equation. The equation we want to use is this one. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. I am very sorry about that. Wrong equation. But we still need our slope and our point to fill this equation out. that equation, we use that for other things. We want to look at this one, which is our point slope form. Okay, now we're back on track here. Sorry again about that. Okay, so let's fill in our information. Our slope was 8.18, so we'll cancel that out. 8.18. And then we'll input our 2 points, or our 2 values for our points. Our x value is 0, and our y value is 203.2. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify this. So we have y minus 203.2 equals 8.18 times x minus 0. And I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. And I want to write this in actually that form. So let's simplify and write in slope intercept form. Okay, so how would we simplify this? Well, x minus 0, that's just going to be x. So rewriting this, y minus 203.2 equals 8.18 times x. That wasn't too bad. So remember, to get into slope intercept form, what we want to do is isolate y. Oop, I think I spelled that wrong. Okay, isolate y. Okay, so how would we get y by itself? We're going to add 203.2 to both sides. All right, let's see what that looks like. Y equals 8.18x plus 203.2. And there we go. We have an equation in slope intercept form. Now remember, this equation right here, that would have been perfectly fine. But it's a good practice to remember how to get this equation into slope intercept form. And we do that by isolating y. So here we go, we have our equation in slope intercept form. So that is an equation for a best fit line for this scatter plot. All right. So last part for this class activity. Part C. Use this linear model. So we're talking about that. That's the equation of a line, and it's a model for our scatter plot. Use this linear model from part B to predict when the number of internet users in the US will reach 265 million. Okay, so what are they trying to ask us? Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Okay, so they're saying we want to predict when the number of internet users will reach 265 million. So we want to know when, so that's talking about the time. So we want to know when. Want to know when, or time. And for our problem, if we go back to look at our information, when is the x values? Number of years, so number of years. So we want to find time or the x value, or x. And the US, the million population, that was talking about our y values. When y equals 265 million. Okay, so that's what we're going to find out using this equation. So let's go ahead, we're going to plug in the value of 265 for y and try solve for x. Okay, go ahead and try see if you can plug in this value for y.